Okay, right. Well, hi everybody. There's a lot of information to share. Nice to have you all with us this evening, but we're going to sort of pare it down to a more exciting aspect of what we want to help you with in terms of your family and your kids going back to school, and yeah, making it a bit more focused, which is why we've got this really exciting promotion going on at the moment. So I'm going to try and keep it in focus with that, for example. But the reason why we're saying get your kids right on the right track with NeoLife is because, yeah, we want them to reach their full potential, which I'm sure is exactly what you want to do. So the period really between 2 and even 18 years actually is known as the developmental years of our lives. And so during this period, children really undergo a tremendous amount of growth and development, both physically as well as cognitively. So we're trying to sort of tap into that need for nutrients. It's critical that children actually receive the nutrients that they need, right from birth, obviously, to build a strong body and a strong mind. And, good nutrition and good health, they go hand in hand. Because not only will it ensure that they reach their physical potential, but also, of course, their emotional, their intellectual, even behavioral and social goals as well. So very important that we look at nutrition for our kids. It's crucial, in fact. So what we're going to do just this evening is carry on from this little booklet that some of you may have already seen, which I think is really cute. And what it really does, it's a very light way of introducing nutrition to the conversation. That's really what it is. It's a conversation opener. And the kids go to school and start to chat with one another. And I think your children are going to enjoy it. And as I say, it doesn't sound like they're learning or being taught or having to understand anything. It's actually just in the conversation that they actually learn. So I think that it's a very cute little tool that I hope you'll enjoy. And as I say, children will be able to share their experiences. And we all know that what the teacher says comes home and we tell our parents, teacher said this, and so we need to do it. So that's exactly what this book is. What happens at school must come home and teach the parents too, not just the kids. So I think you're going to enjoy it, and as much as your kids are, in fact. So as I said, we're talking more specifically now about the nutrients that children need, mainly because, as I say, there's exceptional growth and development at this time of our lives and in our children's lives. And these are the sort of things that are happening. More than 1 billion new cells each day. I mean, we're all about cells. That's what we're made of, all of us. And so 1 billion a day is just an enormous number that have to be developed every day, and therefore they have to be nourished. They have to have the nutrients available in order for them to happen and to differentiate into different organs and different aspects of the body. So tissues and organ systems are developing. The metabolism is extremely high at this time, and I'll chat a little bit about that later. And of course, our physical and mental activity, again, creating enormous energy demands, really enormous. And that's why the nutrient requirements are so high. And if we look in South Africa, for example, we don't have a lot of data, but I just got out some of the information I could find, because obviously that's more what we're interested in. But, there tends to be a lack of variety in our diets in South Africa in general, and a very high prevalence of certain of the micronutrients, in other words, the vitamins and minerals, the smaller nutrients, in other words. And amongst the South African children, there's a widespread lack of adequate amounts of vitamin A, of iron, and in fact, 45% of children have a low zinc status. And this hasn't really changed over the years, as we do the research. We don't have a lot of surveys, as I say. So nothing really seems to be changing very much. So which is very worrying, because it's an ongoing problem. And if we look at those nutrients, and they're just the ones that stand out. Vitamin A is important for our immunity. It's important for our eyes. Iron is very important for our energy, for our level of tiredness or exercise ability, and of course the oxygen that can go around the body. And right now, very importantly, zinc has many, many functions in the body, but one of them in particular that's being talked about a lot, whether it be children or adults, is of course our immune system. And so the fact that 45% of our children have a low zinc status is pretty worrying. And then, of course, we all know that we encourage to eat fruit and vegetables. We've heard it from generation to generation. We never seem to learn somehow. And that level of intake is, of course, low. And it's low around the world, but it's definitely low in South Africa. we don't reach the recommended requirement. And in fact, at Neolife, we talk about relatively high numbers of fruit and vegetable portions. If I'm talking broadly across children's, there's quite a diverse age group, but at least 7 to 9 portions of fruit and vegetables a day. And quite a few years ago, the government tried to institute a 5-a-day principle. In fact, I think it was an international thing. And we didn't even manage to achieve the 5, that's including the fruit and vegetables as a group of 5. So fruit and vegetables are low in our children, and in fact, across all the age groups in South Africa, we don't actually reach the recommendations for fruit and vegetables. And of course, we all know that they're important vitamins and minerals, but they're not just vitamins and minerals. They also contribute to our diet and to our well-being substances that we call phytonutrients, which really literally means plant nutrients, things that are not necessarily a vitamin or a mineral. And they provide many benefits to the body in different ways, predominantly protective benefits, whether it be the oily parts of the body in the cell or the watery parts. There's a phytonutrient for that function. And at Neolife, we're quite familiar with those names now because we were very, very instrumental actually in pioneering the technology to actually extract some of these phytonutrients. And these phytonutrients have names. For example, carotenoids is a name of a collective group of different phytonutrients or plant nutrients that constitute all the colors in the fruit and vegetables, particularly the red, yellow, and orange ones. So maybe you understand now why when you read any magazine, for example, it suggests having a colorful plate of fruit and vegetables, excuse me. And the reason is because the actual color contributes a health benefit, not only actually to the human body, but to the plant as well. It's a protector of the plant. And so some of them, as I say, gravitate towards oily aspects in the body. Some of our membranes, or all of them, have little oily membranes, and we have watery components in the blood, for example, or inside the cells. So they gravitate to either a watery environment or an oily environment, but they are protectors. So that is why the fruit and vegetable component is extremely important. And but nevertheless, so we talk vitamins and minerals, we talk about growth, we talk about all these requirements that we have for the human body as little ones grow and become adults. So I just wanted to get from a Neolife point of view back to the basics, because this is what I would call the basics in terms of nutrition for children. And I'm going to talk about them individually. So let's go straight into NutriShake, because here we're talking about protein. Now, I think we've all heard of protein, and most of us tend to think of protein and muscles. But in fact, protein is a component of virtually every aspect of the body. So whether it's the hair, the skin, the nails, our hormones, our enzymes, in fact, even 50% of the volume of our bone is actually protein. So you can appreciate for your children that it's a very, very important component. And while, yes, we do eat a fair amount of protein, it's not always a good quality protein, often very high in fat. And of course, it depends really also on how we prepare it. So we're very focused at Neolife about the quality of the protein and the completeness of the protein. And so you'll see there 22 amino acids. That means those are the building blocks. So when you eat, let's say, a piece of chicken, for example, as you swallow it and break it down and it gets digested and absorbed, it isn't a piece of chicken anymore. It's now a whole lot of amino acids that made up that piece of chicken. And then the body then selects different amino acids for different functions. So we are very focused on the number of amino acids and, of course, the combinations. And the reason why I mentioned the high quality and completeness is because there are some amino acids that our body simply cannot make. There are 9 of them. So of these 22 that are nutritionally important, 9 are particularly important, in as much as that we have to get them from our food. Now, of course, people do get that, as I say, from animal proteins, but often the body is especially in a growth phase, as our children are in, the demands for even the ones that the body can make are actually very, very high. So we don't leave anything to chance. We don't just say, well, we're going to make sure that the body gets those 9 because perhaps they're lacking in the diet and children will suffer as a result. We're going to make sure that the body has all that is required nutritionally so that anything that happens can be made, because we can provide you with all the nutrients that we need. So that is why we actually supplement. We make sure that we fill all the dietary gaps. I already mentioned to you that, our scorecard is not particularly good. in terms of our vitamins and minerals and the nutrients that we're getting and the variety that we take in the South African population. So at Neolife, we're not leaving anything to chance. We don't just give the bare minimum. We make sure that the whole picture is represented. And so that's why we talk about the 22 amino acids. I'll make reference a bit more to the blood sugar regulation, but that's very important. That really talks to the fact that this is not only a protein product, because as I said, protein is extremely important, but of course it has other vitamins in it. It also has carbohydrates because we have to have energy. But those carbohydrates can also play havoc with our blood sugar levels, which in turn affect our concentration and our ability to focus and our behavior at times. So something that you can eat or give to your kids that is going to give them the quality protein they need for all the growth requirements we've talked about, but also help them in terms of managing their sugar levels. And as I say, behavior, concentration, even learning ability is very important. And that's based on the ingredients that we've selected, the type of carbohydrate. It's not one that spikes one's sugar, if you like, and then causes you to have cravings. It's a very, very moderate, slowly released sugar carbohydrate component that keeps the blood sugar constant. And of course, you know, the preservatives, the artificial sweeteners, the colorants, our Western diet does that for us. We don't want to put that into any of our products. It's a complete waste of space in the product, a complete waste of money that you might be spending on a good quality food. We don't want preservatives, and you don't either. So we pride ourselves in making sure that we don't use anything that's undesirable in the body. It's the very thing we're trying to combat, in fact. And of course, we don't use any genetically modified ingredients because, again, that's compromising the quality of our well-being. And we don't even know where that's hidden in some of the food that we actually are eating and our children are being exposed to. So we have a high quality protein that we will provide. Now, I'm just going to reference, just to deviate for a minute, and actually talk a little bit about the importance of breakfast, because this is a diet or dietary component and part of our menu that is often very poorly subscribed to. And that's for many reasons. I think we all know that we're busy. We have busy households, and sometimes it's pretty chaotic in the morning. But actually, if you just look at that list of benefits of breakfast, apart from just what it tastes like and the nutrient value, the sort of spin-off, the effect that it has. And some of these sound almost a bit weird that they would be able to determine these, but there's been a lot of research done on the importance of breakfast. And if you can just start to see that, people who eat breakfast, they found that then obviously it regulates their hunger, so their eating habits tend to be better throughout the day. That regulates their weight, of course, their concentration, even their punctuality. So it seems that it really enhances one's well-being. And I just found a definition of what breakfast is, and so I thought I'd just read it to you because, as I said, it's been fairly well researched and it's come up with its own definition. It's considered to be the first meal of the day that breaks the fast. So that's where breakfast comes from, breaking the fast, after the longest period of sleep. And it is consumed within 2 to 3 hours of waking. So in other words, you don't have to take it all at once. You can even take it over that 2 to 3 hour period. It consists of a food or beverage from at least one food group, and it may be consumed at any location. So in other words, it doesn't have to be taken, as I say, all at once. If you're one of those people, or your kids are, that doesn't like to eat as soon as they get up or just doesn't have an appetite, well, that's okay. It's intended to be had within the first 3 hours of waking. And again, it doesn't have to be had at home. I mean, these are rules we can make for ourselves, of course, but we tend to think, well, I've rushed out of the home, we didn't have time for breakfast, and so we lose out. In fact, that's not the case. We can actually be more creative and have our breakfast a little bit later in the morning. And as I said, this is typical in terms of our behavior in I think many homes around the world, but breakfast is something that we're not giving enough credit for. And in fact, 50% in South Africa, 50% of school-going children regularly buy food at school and don't take a lunchbox. So often, if they miss out on breakfast, they've been given some money, and then who knows what it is they're going to buy. And we certainly know it's not necessarily going to be something healthy. And the importance here of breakfast in terms of our kids is because of that sugar level I was talking about, or glucose, which is really what blood sugar is. Because the rate of glucose metabolism in children's brains increases between birth and 4 years, reaching almost twice that of an adult's metabolic rate. And it actually remains elevated up until about the age of 9 or 10 and slowly starts to decline. And by about late adolescence, it starts to sort of mirror an adult level of metabolism. So this is important because regular meals to ensure that there's continuous glucose supply is very important then for children, and more important for children than it is for adults. So they are actually more prone to the adverse effects of that overnight fasting. In other words, breakfast is extremely important for them. So that is needed to provide them with fuel and energy for that very elevated metabolic rate that they have in the brain that they need. And obviously then they're going off to school, and that's exactly when that affects their concentration, their interaction, their level of focus and attention. So breakfast is going to make a difference to your child in the classroom. And so that's why something like NutriShake could actually be a very useful agent to be that breakfast, if you like, or even that mid-morning snack. It can be taken, even if it's, taken on the way to school and if it isn't completed, and sometimes little children can't drink as much as that. So perhaps they can take half. All they have to do is shake it up when they get to school, and they can have it later in the morning or for their mid-morning snack. It can be made the night before and then just given a good shake, kept in the fridge. So it really, really is highly nutritious, exactly what children need. It's providing them with the blood sugar levels that's stable, but that are necessary, and super convenient. So I just wanted to just sort of deviate for a minute, but talk about breakfast as a very important thing. And that is why, while NutriShake's giving all the nutrients we need, it's actually also performing in a very important function in our dietary intake on a daily basis. So then I mentioned VitaSquares as being one of the basic staples. And that is because it's providing vitamins and minerals, a broad spectrum of vitamins and minerals that are going to fill in those gaps that I talked about in terms of the South African diet and what we seem to be lacking. So remember vitamin A, remember the iron, vitamin and the zinc, and even vitamin C for that matter, because vitamin C, for 1 minute, I want to mention it, while a well-known vitamin, and we tend to sort of take it for granted because we know so much about it. But in fact, we're one of the few species that cannot manufacture or synthesize vitamin C in our bodies. We have to get it from the food that we eat. So it's a very important nutrient as well. So to get this broad spectrum of vitamins and minerals to fill those dietary gaps, we're not saying, even though I talked about breakfast and NutriShake, we're not suggesting that you don't worry about what kids eat because here's a supplement, it'll take care of it for you. Not at all, because there's so many other aspects to eating on a social level, if nothing else. But we want to make sure that those gaps are filled, and that they're filled with something that is from the actual foods that has created the gap, in fact. So when you look at just some of these things, I haven't listed all the nutrients, I've actually listed all the other benefits. That it's naturally sweetened with oranges, apples, and grapes. It's flavored with berries. So look at all these lovely foods that probably aren't making their way onto our plates on a daily basis and then into our kids, and perhaps some of them don't even like some of these tastes in the actual fruit. But when it comes in something like a combination of ingredients like VitaSquares, then they really start to notice. Because in fact, kids love this taste. And it's good for them. There's no added sugar, there are no preservatives, there are no artificial colors, and it's chewable. So they can suck on it if they like, they can make it last longer. And in fact, I know in many households, kids just can't wait to get their VitaSquares for the day. So you need to get your kids aware of it, get hooked on it, get them to like it, because they will just get them aware of it and they will want it on a daily basis. So we're suggesting that at least VitaSquares and NutriShake, which are, as I said, the basics for the protein, for the energy, for all the vitamins and minerals. And just one very important thing there, where I just put to the side under the container, is treanin. Now, our distributors are familiar with this term, but it may be something unusual to people listening for the first time. And treanin simply means literally 3 in 1. And what we've done here is we've taken oils from the different grains that we eat, whether it be wheat or rice, and we've actually extracted the oils from those grains and encapsulated them. Now that might sound a little unusual, but in actual fact, you may not have thought about Why you can keep, for example, a packet of rice or perhaps a packet of pasta in your cupboard for months, and it doesn't go off. But in actual fact, when the wheat that is making up that pasta actually grows, it's got its own natural oils. It's got wheat germ oil, for example. Even the rice, when it is growing, has got rice bran oil. But that oil doesn't find its way into our grocery cupboard, because otherwise our packet of rice or a packet of pasta wouldn't have a shelf life. But the plant has it there for a reason, and our bodies really need it. And so what we did some 60 years ago, recognized this trend in the food industry of processing, of giving a shelf life, of convenience. And we took and encapsulated those oils and put them back in the diet, because those oils are actually oils that we cannot manufacture in the body. And our cell membranes, all of our cells, remember I said we're just made of them, we're trillions of cells. They have to function for us. They have to talk to one another. They have to receive nutrients. They have to excrete waste. And their cell membrane is extremely important. And treonine is one of the set of oils, some of the grains that we eat virtually on a daily basis, that need to be in our bodies, helping those cell membranes to be fluid, flexible, receptive, and responsive. So just think about it. If we actually didn't put those oils back in our diet, we'd be eating our rice and be eating our pastas and not getting the oils that nature provides. And so this is just one of the, as you go through the products, you'll start to see there's a very pioneering and very forward-thinking approach that our scientific advisory board have. And as I say, this is actually a pivotal ingredient in our product. So this is not, Vita Squares is not just a multivitamin and mineral with a few nice little flavors to add to it. It has a crucial component that not only enables the cells to work properly, but enables the very vitamins and minerals in the product to be absorbed properly, so that we know that they're being utilized effectively. So the two basics that I've talked about have many great features and attributes that are crucially important to the human body, and particularly a growing little child who needs all these. So those are the basics. But I talked a bit about immunity, and I talked about zinc, and obviously right now extremely important for our well-being. And so we have added to the basics now. This should be, as I say, just covering all the possible dietary gaps. But immunity is extremely important, and we have a product that we add to this called Vita Guard, and I think that the name kind of speaks for itself. It's guarding the body. It's protecting the body. And we talked about the fruit and vegetables as being the protector nutrients, whether they be the vitamins and minerals or those phytonutrients, the carotenoids and the flavonoids. And we have put different ingredients together and highlighted specific vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients in this product, which will then complement the NutriShake and complement the Vita Squares. In some cases, it will actually overlap in some of the ingredients, which is exactly what we want. So for example, you'll have zinc in Vita Squares, but you've also got zinc in Vita Guard, because remember I said, very important for the immune system. And 45% of our kids are lacking in zinc. So the fact that they layer one on top of the other is the intention. So this product is actually extracting nutrients from specifically fruit and vegetables, cranberry. Look at these lovely things, cranberries, mixed berries, lemons and oranges, peaches, fabulous foods that really need to be on that. They will make such a colorful plate of foods, but we don't always achieve that. I'm sure none of us do really, and certainly not on a daily basis. And I think that's the challenge here. We're being asked to eat foods, all these recommendations that we get and dietary guidelines that we're given. We're supposed to be doing these things on a daily basis. I mean, that's not a very achievable thing for most of us. We're busy, we don't have access to all of these things, we don't have them on hand. So this is where an important supplementation program can play a part, provided it's doing what the dietary guidelines are asking you to do. Give the body these nutrients on a daily basis, but get the nutrients from those foods that ideally would have been on our plate, but we can't always achieve. So Neolife has gone to the cranberries and the oranges and the carrots and apricots, and we've extracted the nutrients and then simply put them into an easier to deliver form. So they are powerful antioxidants. Antioxidants are protectors, and they protect us against external factors, the environment, smog, exhaust fumes, other people's cigarette smoke. And of course, we produce, in our own activities in our body, we produce free radicals as well. And they are perfectly normal things to have in the body, but we need to have nutrients to neutralize them or balance them or make them behave themselves so that we can use them or excrete them. But if we don't have the nutrients, they hang around and they literally are free and radical, and they do damage some of our cells and our blood vessels and cause inflammation. And of course, these nutrients, because they are protectors, VitaGuard, they enhance the immune system. They support our immune system and enable us to mount an appropriate response. Zinc is very important for that. Vitamin C, very important. And that you'll find both of those in this product. They enable the body to mount an appropriate immune response. Should we be exposed? As I say, it could be pollution. It could be some bacteria. It could even be a virus. Our bodies need these nutrients on tap on a regular basis. In fact, on a daily basis. And again, naturally fruit flavored, they're chewable, kids love them. So we can actually combine our NutriShake and our Vita Squares and include VitaGuard, because we are simply enhancing the ingredients. And you'll see there, again, I've highlighted just below the container, the carotenoid and flavonoid blend. And that's where the cranberries and the mixed berries, for example, come in. Flavonoids are the water-soluble phytonutrients, and they contribute or come from all these sort of purplish and red and dark black, almost the berries, like the berries that you can see there, the cranberries and the mixed berries. And we've heard, you heard about black grapes and red grapes. Those type of colors in nature, they provide our bodies with flavonoids. But then your oranges and carrots and apricots and peaches and tomatoes, what color are they? They're sort of the red, yellow, and orange ones. And they contribute to the carotenoids. And so we've gone to those actual foods and put them into our product. And that really is pretty unique in the marketplace. And of course, we could talk for days about all the tests and results and research and the publications that we've done on these particular ingredients, our carotenoids and our flavonoids. So it's not just talk, it's really been scrutinized in the scientific community as well. So you can feel very secure in actually giving this to your children. In fact, they really, really do need it. So what we've done for the purposes of getting our kids back to school and getting them on track, this is where our little combination of our little promotion and our encouragement to parents to say, give your kids the best. So we've got a little immunity booster pack. And so you'll see here, NutriShake, Vita Squares, and VitaGuard as a combo. And then that little book that I showed you earlier, which is going to make reference to some of these ingredients and educate the kids one with the other and with the teacher's involvement. But alongside this, you also get a blender bottle, because that's where you're going to put your NutriShake. You're going to simply put 1 or 2 scoops of NutriShake. And there are different flavors of NutriShake, by the way. You can get a lovely vanilla one, or you can get a creamy chocolate one, or it's gorgeous strawberry one. And you can add it with milk. And that's also, it brings milk back onto the menu. In South Africa, we took part in sorry, I'm just telling you these things as they come to me. We took part in some sort of survey or study. In fact, there were 20 different countries, and South Africa was one of them. And they were trying to ascertain the levels of sugars and the beverages and the sugary beverages that people were consuming. And South Africa fared the worst. In other words, as a population amongst our children, we are taking in the highest concentration of sugary, sweet beverages. In other words, fizzy cool drinks. So something like NutriShake, which is delicious, it's a milkshake. It's a treat, but it's nutritious. And that brings something much better onto the menu than those other fizzy drinks and these substances that spike our sugar and mess us around. So this is a very, very valuable tool. And as I say, you simply put it in your little shaker. Remember, I said you can make it the night before, give it a shake in the morning, have a little bit for breakfast, and send your kids off to school for using the rest for the mid-morning snack. So that little combo is a very powerful little immune boosting combo. You get the shake, so you buy the products, and you get the shake, and you get a little Neopel booklet that I talked about in the beginning. You get all that included for no extra cost. There's a little pamphlet at the back there called our nutrition brochure for children, which takes all the guesswork out of everything. It gives you an idea of whatever your age or child is, how much of something to give them, so that you don't have to concern yourself and have a headache and concern yourself that you're giving them too much or too little. We give you a guideline in that little brochure. So that's our little immunity booster. Well, it's not little, it's it's compact, but it's powerful. Right, so of course, nutrition also then goes directly into the classroom. So it's not just only about growth and making sure that we just have breakfast. There are other components of our nutritional intake that we need to talk about. and need to be on our plate on a regular basis, that will actually go into the classroom. And that, of course, are our omega-3 oils, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. Sometimes one is overwhelmed by the choice that is out there. So I want to just kind of bring it back down to what you're supposed to be looking for. We've spent as Neolife a lot of time and effort and money in finding the right ingredients, challenging them to see if they actually work, and then having other people, third parties, test the products to see that they in fact do what salmon or fish oils are supposed to do. Currently, there are no formal guidelines about how much children should be having, but there are recommendations from the United States Department of Agriculture and all health authorities around the world that we should all be eating, and children in particular as well, eating seafood on a regular basis, including fatty fish into our diet. So that's your tuna, your mackerel, your salmon, your anchovies. And they're not foods that we regularly eat, and I'll give you an idea of what we're supposed to be eating in a minute. But what we have done here is we've got what we call Salmon Oil Plus. And we say plus because it's more than just salmon. We've got 4 different fish represented in the product. And the amazing thing is, which you would expect would be normal, is that we actually tell you which fish they are. And there are a lot of products on the shelves that don't even tell you which fish it is that you're putting in your mouth, which I think is a little bit worrying. So when you're looking at products and comparing one with the other, make sure that you're being told all the things you need to know. So we've got, anchovies and sardines, and we've also got the salmon in there as well, and the tuna. So this is a very, very comprehensive product. So what we've done now is to enable people who perhaps, and children in particular, who need a smaller capsule, we've simply halved the capsule, if you like, and made 2 smaller ones. So 2 of the smaller one are equivalent to 1 of the large one. That's the simplicity of it. That was our purpose for doing it, not what concentration particularly, but the fact that we could give you half that capsule size and make it more, easier to swallow and easier for children and even some adults to swallow as well. So as I said, in terms of the recommendations, authorities around the world are telling us that we should be eating fish and fatty fish. And that doesn't mean that the fish has been fried. It means that it's not even talking about the liver of the fish, because you often we all know about fish liver oils. But the actual flesh of the fish, if you were to squeeze that flesh, it actually carries its fat in an oily form in the flesh of the fish. And we're probably, with the amounts of fish that we were recommended to have, and particularly children, if we were having fish 2 or 3 times a week, would work out to probably about between 250 to 500 milligrams of these omega-3 oils, which come from these different fish on a daily basis. So between 250 and 500 milligrams, although there's no official amount, that would be the recommendation. That's the sort of amount you would have to take in order to match up the recommendations of the food that we should be eating, 2 to 3 portions of fish a week. So if we're not taking that and we're wanting to look at it in a supplement form, we'd be looking for about 250 to 500 milligrams for our children. So when we halved that larger capsule and made 2 smaller ones, those 2 capsules will provide you with about 356 milligrams per day. So that's slap in the middle of your 250 to 500 milligrams. And of course, you can take more or you can take less. So it makes it very flexible, right in the middle of the range. And as I say, we've gone to 4 different fish. But I also want to show you some of the other features about this particular product. And you'll see there that big 8 right at the top there. And that is our feature of this product, because we've done a lot of research. We've understood, our philosophy is based in nature, backed by science. So we want to understand, what does nature provide? Why does it provide it? How does the human body respond to it? Why does the body even need it? And our body responds to 8 different components of this omega-3 family. Our biochemistry is designed to produce and work and utilize 8 different components. To be fair, we don't necessarily understand every single one of them, but we know they exist. And so if they exist, the body wants them, nature provides them, let's give it, if we're going to do a supplement, let's do the job properly. So we have gone to, as I say, 4 different fish to make sure that we can get these 8 different components. Now, there is not one other product on the market, in spite of the fact that this is not a secret. There's not one other product on the market that actually has 8 different components. I think the best I've seen is 4. And as I say, many of them don't even tell you which fish they're using, which, as I say, which should be a bit of a red flag. So 8 different components, 4 different fish, and this is something that makes our product particularly different from all the rest of the other products on the market. And as I say, the concentration of ingredients is exactly what you need, slap in the middle of the recommended amount. So, in South Africa, if we just look at our sort of intake of omega-3 fatty acids, a recent study found that children in general are eating higher amounts of saturated fats and insufficient amounts of these polyunsaturated fats, and omega-3 is one of them. The treanin also provides polyunsaturated fats, and both families, the polyunsaturated fats, the body cannot manufacture. So here's a crucial gap that is extremely important for our well-being as children, in fact, even through pregnancy, in fact, right through the life cycle. So our children definitely need to take these, and as I say, most households are not eating adequate amounts of fish. And even in South Africa, communities living at the coast, where you would think that they would have access and would eat, a variety of different fish, that tends to be their intake is still very, very poor. So we really do have a gap. And so what we've decided to do is to actually combine ingredients and make sure that we can fill that gap. So, it's well established that omega-3 is crucial for many, many facets of our well-being, the brain in particular, for our cognitive skills. As I said, it affects us in the classroom. Very important actually for the building of our nervous system. So it's building of new nerves and neurons and nerve cells. There are different names you'll see on this particular list here. Number 8, for example, is called DHA. Don't even try and remember the other ingredients because it's not worth trying to remember all those names. We just abbreviate them and they're much easier to work with. That in particular makes up about 15% of all the fatty acids in certain parts of our brain that are involved in messaging and signaling, so sending messages, understanding, our cognitive skill, in other words, the way our brain will develop, the way our brain will work. And studies have shown that people with, or children with learning disabilities actually, and even your ADHD, and we'll talk about that, in other words, some behavior aspects, are more likely to have low levels of omega-3 fatty acids. And these lower levels, because they've done a lot of research on omega-3 fatty acids, and of course, there's a lot of talk about, a lot of people make a lot of claims about different ingredients, and I think we need to be sensible about the sort of claims. We don't have to exaggerate. I think you can see from here that what Neolife is achieving is filling gaps. Where are the gaps? We can research that. I've highlighted many of them. These are researched bits of information that are published. There is a gap. Let's fill that gap. Where do we get those nutrients from? Let's go to those foods, piece all this puzzle together, and deliver it back to the human body in a form that it will recognize and can use. So we go with the studies to understand what is needed. And the lower levels of omega-3 have also been associated with poor reading ability, compromised memory sometimes in school-age children. And also a recent study has shown that children aged between sort of 3 and 5 years performed better on tests of intelligence, of just general learning, and their vocabulary when they were supplemented with omega-3. So a lot of research on our children in the classroom, in their day-to-day activities at school, but also very important at school and of course, in the home too, is their behavior. And omega-3 fatty acids have been found to influence behavior positively. And we've heard a lot about attention deficit hyperactivity, and teachers are tearing their hair out and putting kids on, recommending it, that you tell your children to go and have medications and things so that they can calm down. And there could be a lot of other contributing factors, one of which certainly is omega-3 fatty acids. And as I've pointed out, we need to have it on a regular basis. Our diets are lacking in it. The body cannot make it. That's a recipe for a problem if we don't actually address it. And just without being technical, but one of the things that these omega-3 fatty acids do is actually work on our serotonin levels. And that's a sort of a hormone-like substance that regulates right through our life, through the life cycle. It actually influences our behavior, our cognitive skills, our mood, our decision-making abilities, even our social behavior, impulsive behavior. It definitely has a part to play with children there. And you'll see there on that list of those 8 little fish that you can see there, you've got EPA at number 5 and DHA at number 8. The EPA, for example, increases the serotonin level, and the DHA, the number 8, actually makes sure that the serotonin and the receptor sites in the brain actually meet up with one another. So they have positive effects on the serotonin levels. And as I said, the serotonin levels have positive effects on our, not only cognitive skills, but actually on our behavior. So it plays a part in children's behavior in the classroom, and of course, the way they perform in terms of their scholastic ability. And so there you'll see that learning, reading, memory, vocabulary, behavior, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder definitely are influenced by what we eat, and certainly by this gap in our dietary intake. So it would make sense that we would put together a combo for you too. And this we've called the Brain Booster. And there again are your basics, your NutriShake and your VitaSqueeze. And here we've combined our omega-3 in the smaller capsule that is suitable for your kids. And again, you purchase the products, but alongside you get complimentary blender, you get your little NeoPels book and your children's brochure as complimentary additions to this, to ensure that your children perform well at school, behave well at school, and at home, of course, too. So it makes sense. I think you realize that I think probably you need the Brain Booster, and you need your protectors as well for your immune system. So we decided to put the whole lot together. And so we made an ultimate booster. And so again, we have your basics of NutriShake and VitaSquares. You have your VitaGuard, which is your guarder, your protector. And then we've put the omega-3, which is there for your cognitive skills and behavior and in the classroom. So we're combining all of these, and we're actually filling all the dietary gaps. But what we've done here is a really special, because we feel so strongly about all this benefit and the ultimate booster that's going to help your children really, get on track this year at school. Is not only have we included the blender bottle and the NeoLifePel book and your children's nutrition brochure as complementary agents. What we've also decided to do is give you an entire little container of omega-3 absolutely free. So you have an ultimate booster. Something for the, for the brain, something for the immune system, and we put an extra one that is worth literally 258 Rand to you, absolutely free in this particular combo. So we hope that that I'm sure you have realized the value of these nutrients, and hopefully you'll put some more of these foods on the plates at home. But if you're hard pushed to do that on occasions, and certainly on a daily basis, then NeoLife have certainly, I think, shown you that they've made a very, very concerted effort to go to those foods, put the right combinations together, not an excess amount of anything. I think you'll find these pretty tight little combinations packed with nutrients and very, very powerful. And I think the ultimate booster is definitely going to do your children a good service in 2021. And just to make sure that we keep your kids on the right track, we've got quite a fun little wellness tracker that keeps you all on track. So there's a little thing there they can color in, for example, depending on their age, how strong they're feeling, how energetic, are they in a good mood, which products that they have today, did they have their water? And we've got a few additional little products that you can chat to your distributor or your guests about. You can get extra vitamin C, for example. There's some nice little snacks you can take to school to make sure that we balance our sugar levels. We get all the nutrients. We don't have to use our tuck money to go and buy rubbish. We can actually put a lovely NeoLife bar into our lunchbox as well. So there's a whole lot going on here that is not only getting them on track, but keeping everybody on track. So you can have a lot of fun with our little NeoPel promotion. And this is something out of the book, that we believe in giving our most precious blessings the right nutrition for an active and bright start to life's journey. So this is actually taken out of the little NeoPel book. And it ends off by saying, great habits start now. And so I hope that you've learned something that you can get great habits into action right now. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Liz. Isn't that incredible? I am incredibly excited about that this NeoPels promotion, this Smart Start for Schools promotion. I really believe it's going to add so much value to our Near Life community. And I'm going to encourage all of our distributors on this call to reach out to parents that have children and share this information with them. I'm going to make this Liz's recording available to all of us. I'll send out an email with the link to the recording, because listening to Liz, thank you. There was just so much value in that I really believe can help parents make better decisions. And I know my 3 children have been on these products since preconception. And I know that every morning they get their Nutri-Shake and they get their vitamins. And I know they are set up for the day. And it just gives me the peace of mind that as they grow and they develop, as a parent, my wife and I are playing our part. It's our responsibility to give those little bodies, like you say, that are producing about 1 billion new cells every single day, a chance to develop to their full potential. And so, Liz, I just want to thank you so much for that. I'm just going to recap here for a second. So I've seen a question come in saying, are these packs already put together, or do we have to make these packs up? We have put all these packs together for you. So each pack has a code, which I'll show you right now. There are 3 packs. Number 1, the brain booster, the immunity booster, and the ultimate booster. Okay, the brain booster, that comes with your Vita Square, your Nutri-Shake. Okay, you get to choose what flavor Nutri-Shake you want, whether it's strawberry, chocolate, or vanilla. And you get your omega-3 salmon oil plus mini, that is for your brain booster. Okay, then we're going to add your wellness tracker, your children's nutrition brochure, your NeoPels children's book, and your blender bottle. Okay, that is the brain booster. You then have the immunity booster, your Vita Square, your Nutri-Shake, that's just getting your building blocks in place. And then we add a Vita Guard to that to boost the immunity. That's the protector nutrients. And then you get your free trackers, your brochures, your children's book, and your blender bottle. And now this is the one that I really believe is the ultimate. That is why we've called it the ultimate booster. You get your Vita Square, you get your Nutri-Shake, you get your Vita Guard, you get your immunity, your omega-3. So we're hitting the immunity, we're hitting the brain booster, all together, one pack. You get all your free trackers, your brochures, your books, your blender bottles. Plus, we are adding a free omega-3 mini into this pack, and that just adds a value of 258 Rand to this pack. Okay, it's really just a high value pack, this. And what I love about these 3 packs, it's not just enabling you as a parent to give your child the nutrition that it needs, but it's getting them to participate in this process. By reading that NeoPels book, I can tell you that there's going to be so many great little values and lessons for them to learn about good nutrition. By participating in the daily tracker, they're going to be engaged in the process. They're going to be excited about the process, and it's just helping you instill those good daily habits. And Liz mentioned something very, very important. Do it on a daily basis, consistency. Just on one hand, a bad meal doesn't kill you, but many bad meals over time, that is when you get the problem. And on the other hand, good nutrition, doing it once or twice, it doesn't really add value. It's the consistency, that daily habit, that is going to give you the compound interest that is going to really give you a lifetime of great health. And this is the retail pricing for customers. All of our distributors, you should have the discounted pricing with you. But just an example here, we have the brain booster, the vanilla, the strawberry, and the chocolate option. You have the code, and then you have the retail price, and the same for the immunity boosters and the ultimate boosters. But I will be getting an email out to every one of you tomorrow that is on this call with the information. For our guests on the call tonight, thank you for joining us. It's been wonderful having you online. I pray this and I hope this has been of great value to you. If it has been of value to you, I'm going to ask you a favor. I'm going to ask you to share this information and this recording with somebody that you care about and somebody that you believe will get good value from this call, because that is how we get the information out there. And if you are a guest or if you are a distributor and you have a guest on the call tonight, please reach out to them, follow up with them, help them get their questions answered so that they can make an informed decision. In fact, if you want to get your hands on one of these booster packs, you can hop online right now and you can order it online and we will deliver it to your door. That is our commitment to you. So everybody, thank you for being with us. We are going to have a year of extreme fun. So we're going to be seeing a lot of each other. God bless you all, and just have a fantastic and amazing week. Good night.